Hi, my name is Zach Simmons, and this is my Chicago Bears Journal. This is my final episode of the year. I will pick back up around free agency, and we'll also do some talking about the Bears during about draft time. But the main thing right now is on Monday, we will be seeing a lot of coaches being fired. There's a lot of people saying that Nagy should be one of them, and that Ryan Pace should also follow him. So I'm going to explain exactly why that won't happen and what Nagy is going to do to save his job in the next couple days. So first and foremost, a lot of Bears fans are quick to forget that Matt Nagy brought us to the playoffs last year. A lot of Bears fans are quick to forget that he won the most games out of any first-year coach in Bears history. Now, I admit, this year, terrible year, and a lot of the blame you can't put on Matt Nagy. And then you can obviously blame Ryan Pace, since he's the one who hired Matt Nagy. He's the one who traded up for Mitchell Trubisky. None of his first-round picks have worked except for Roquan Smith. And that's still yet to be seen for sure anyway. But Floyd's been a mistake. We all know Kevin White was a mistake. Trubisky's starting to look like a mistake. But I want to take some time to explain why you won't be seeing Nagy fired and won't be seeing Pace being fired. Number one, take a look at Ryan Pace. A lot of his he's been kind of half and half when it comes to free agency. He's had some really good signings. He's also had some pretty bad signings. Look at Quinn Dumps, Marcus Cooper. But he's also brought in guys like Gabriel, who worked great last year. He hasn't really worked so great this year, but he worked pretty good last year with Trubisky. He's one who brought in Allen Robinson. Robinson could have gone to San Fran. San Fran was beginning to be built up. He decided, no, I'm going to go to Chicago. Great job of Ryan Pace scoring a guy like Allen Robinson, because that's what we needed back then, back in the 2017 or 2018 offseason. So he's been kind of half and half, but you can't forget Akeem Hicks as well, one of them. There's definitely some misses, but definitely some good grabs. Looking at the draft, obviously his first-round picks have been just awful. The only one that's actually somewhat worked out is Roquan Smith, even though this season we don't know for sure exactly if he's worked out yet or not. He had some off games, but he had some very good games where he looked like an elite linebacker. But if you take a look at his mid-round to late-round picks, a lot of them have worked out. If you're looking at Jordan Howard, looking at Tariq Cohen, Eddie Jackson, he was able to score in the fourth round. There's a lot of these guys that also, if you look at the line, you have Cody Whitehair and James Daniels. Both of them were taken the second round. He's done a fairly good job in those mid-round picks. In fact, he's found Pro Bowlers in those mid-round picks. So just because the first-round picks haven't worked out does not mean that it doesn't mean at all that he's doing a poor job drafting. He's done a fairly good job. He's not doing very good with those first-round picks. But remember, the last 2 years we haven't had a first-round pick because he decided to trade those for Khalil Mack, someone who's already established. Even though he was silent this year, you can argue that he had a better season this year than he did last year. Yes, he had less sacks, but also he had more QB pressures, more QB hits this year than he did last year. Also, you have to remember that he's been double teamed, triple teamed this year. You're even down in sacks, which tells you a lot about Leonard Floyd. That if he's been double teamed, triple teamed, Leonard Floyd should be able to be there. Nick Williams was one of the leaders in sacks, and he's a backup in the interior line. Floyd's got to do better. And if we had Akeem Hicks, you wouldn't be seeing Khalil Mack. You wouldn't see him being double teamed, triple teamed, because Akeem Hicks would be taking a lot of those blocks. So when it comes to Ryan Pace, you can make the arguments for the first-round picks, except he's decided to trade those away for guys he knows for a fact are going to be good. He's not going to take that gamble. At least he has in the last 2 years. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward if that's going to be his move or not. But anyway, no matter what, he's done a fantastic job. If you take a look at the majority of things that he's done, most of his free agent signings have worked. And his late round picks, they've worked. He's been very good at not having to pay a lot of money that he can go and draft someone. So, for instance, Jordan Howard, he's expecting to be paid a lot of money. We decided to do instead, we say we also have to re-sign Cohen, Jackson, and potentially Trubisky. We don't have the money for Jordan Howard, so we're going to let him go, trade him for what could be a 4th round pick. Now, I believe it looks more like a 5th round pick. But we can trade him away, and we can draft a guy to take his spot. So he decided to go with the cheaper option, David Montgomery. I think he actually might be a better running back than Jordan Howard. You can't tell with this line, but I think it was a good move by Ryan Pace. He's done a fairly good job here. So I would not say he deserves to be out. However, if Nagy's out, you will see Pace out as well, because very rarely do you see a guy get 3 chances to get a head coach within just 5 seasons. You don't see that. So, but Nagy, everyone's forgetting he has one move. He's got one move that he can do that can save his job. A lot of the issues have been around the play call. It's been around the offense as well. The offense has regressed. Defense has regressed mainly because they're changing to a new scheme. So you're seeing cornerbacks like Prince Amukamara and Kyle Fuller, who are used to playing a zone defense. That's their strength, is playing a zone defense, changing to a man-to-man defense in Pagano's system. So you're going to see a little bit of regression, not because the personnel has regressed at all. It's because they're changing to a new scheme that doesn't really fit their strengths. But the offense hasn't changed. So the fact that the offense has regressed so much that even the play call has regressed, that's on Nagy, but it's also on Mark Helfrich. The one thing that can save Nagy's job is if he fires Helfrich and gets someone new, so at least he can say, I'm changing up the offense, let me go and grab someone else. But Nagy's got to give him play call duties as well. So that's the one thing that can save Nagy's job, is say, I'm taking this offense seriously. I agree it doesn't work. Let me go and figure out how I can make this work. Let me go out there. I will find a new offensive coordinator who can do his job, who's been established. So expect him to go for a well-known guy, someone that Pace and the Bears brass can say, okay, yes, this is a guy we want in Chicago. This is a guy that we trust with play call. This is a guy that we can trust to run the offense. I wouldn't be surprised if Nagy will say, let me take a step back, let me lead the team, and let me find someone to run this offense. Because that's the only thing he can do. If he's going to refuse to do that, he'll be out of here. He'll be fired. Because that's the one thing that hasn't worked. And you can blame Nagy for that. You can blame Helfrich no matter what. The offense has not worked. The only way Nagy can keep his job is by saying, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously, let me go and find someone new. So don't be surprised. Jay Gruden is the top name, I think, for the Bears offensive coordinator job. I don't think Childress. I think Childress is just kind of on his way out with coaching. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires at the end of the season. So I wouldn't expect too much from Childress. But there's Jay Gruden, and today there has been news that Doug Marrone might be fired. Well, Doug Marrone gets fired. They do have Joe DeFilippo, who we did bring in to interview as our head coach when we hired Matt Nagy. So that's a definite possibility. Pat Shurmur is a possibility if he gets fired from the Giants. I'm not really sure on that one just yet, and we're not really sure about Doug Marrone. It's expected, but at the same time, Jaguars are denying it. It's hard to tell exactly what's going to happen there in Jacksonville. But there's definitely guys we can bring in. So for all of you saying that, well, let's get a real head coach, let's get Ron Rivera, pump the brakes a little bit. Because remember, Matt Nagy did a very good job last year. One of the most loved people in Chicago last year. So just because someone had a terrible year does not mean they need to be scrapped. Give him one more season. I'm never on board with firing a coach after 1 or 2 years. You have to give him at least 3 years, because it does take a good amount of time to install an offense, to install someone as a leader sometimes can take some time. So you have to give a head coach around 3 years. There's been a lot of teams in the NFL that don't really follow that, or they follow that a little too much and they keep guys for way too long. Marvin Lewis and Todd Bowles are two of those guys that were in their spots for way too long. But you're seeing guys, especially look down the Browns, Hugh Jackson's the only exception here, that they will keep a guy for a year or two and then scrap him and then get someone completely new. The Bears should not fall into that whatsoever. Just let Matt Nagy do his thing. Let him find someone who can take the play call. It should be fine. The big question is, though, it goes beyond Nagy, and it's, do we trust Trubisky to be here in 2020? Now, I get the Kansas City game. It was a very bad game. It was an embarrassing game on all sides of the ball, to be perfectly honest. And a lot of the blame goes on Trubisky. Did he play a good game? No. Did he have a good season? No. But did he show flashes? Yes. And the big issue is we don't have a first-round pick. We don't have a first-round pick, and quite frankly, we don't have a whole lot of money. We have a bunch of guys that we can cut. Don't get me wrong. We have Princeton Mukamara, we have Kyle Long, we have Taylor Gabriel, Leonard Floyd. We have guys who can trade away or we can cut. Then we also have Dan Trevathan and Nick Wachowski, whose contracts are up. We can bring one of them back. But we also have to re-sign Allen Robinson, Eddie Jackson. You can make a case to re-sign HaHa Clindex. There's guys that we need to bring in that we need to focus our money on. And to get Teddy Bridgewater might not be the best solution. That's going to take a lot of our money. Just remember how much money he took in New Orleans to be the backup. So if we bring him in to be the starter, no, we don't have the money for it. We just don't. So expect the Bears to go and grab a veteran guy, Joe Flacco, Case Keenum, Alex Smith, someone like that. So when Trubisky doesn't play up to his expectations once again, we have someone who can come in, because Chase Daniel is not good enough to come in for Mitchell Trubisky. We need a backup who can come in the circumstance that Trubisky does not play well. So we need to have an established starter, someone who can come in and start for at least half a season, someone like that. A bridge quarterback. Case Keenum's done that for a while. Ryan Fitzpatrick's done that for a while. Someone like that to be the backup, but someone that we can rely on to be the starter if we need him to be. And also expect us to go with the backup quarterback in the draft. I'm not saying we're going to go Jake Fromm in the second round, but pay attention to the third, fourth, or fifth rounds, because we might go backup quarterback in that case. That guy will probably not be a starter. That's not someone you can consider like a Dak Prescott. There's more than likely they're going to be a backup quarterback. So right now, are we going to get our starter for 2021? No, it's not going to happen. We'll keep Trubisky for 2020. We have a backup, a veteran backup who can take his job if necessary. But he's not going to be the long-term issue. He's not going to be the long-term solution. By any means, if we get Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, they are not the long-term solution. Even if we trade for Nick Foles, they're not the long-term solution. Now, even if we go with Cam Newton, he's not the long-term solution. So no matter what we do here in free agency, whatever we do when it comes to trades, when it comes to a backup quarterback, because we're not going to get a starter. We're going to get a backup quarterback. It's not the long-term solution. That's going to come in the 2021 draft. So in 2020 draft, don't expect a whole lot. We don't have a first-round pick. To be honest, it will be Trubisky. We all know it. As much as we want him gone, especially after that Kansas City game, it'll be Trubisky. So prep for that. If we get someone else, then be excited. But just prepare yourself to watch number 10 go on the field the first game in 2020. But that's what I have for this week. Like what I said, when free agency begins, we'll talk a little bit about what the Bears should, who the Bears should get, what positions they need to look at. Obviously, right now we kind of have an idea, but we don't know what we're going to do yet. We still have guys to re-sign. So we still have guys to re-sign. We still have guys we could trade away. We still have guys we can cut. So you don't know exactly what's going to happen just yet. So we'll talk more about that around free agency in March, and then we'll have another episode around the draft, talking about who the Bears should draft, what positions we should look at, and so on and so forth. And then by preseason, we'll be back. I'll be back here, and we'll discuss a little bit about what we're expecting from the Bears in 2020, what we're expecting to see in preseason, some of the guys that we really want to see. So that's what I have for you this week. I hope you have a good rest of your day.